So, when you think of fast food, what comes to mind? Burgers, right? Fries, chicken sandwiches. But what if I told you the real business, the thing that actually makes these giants tick, isn't about the food at all? Let's peel back the curtain and find out what's really going on.
All right. To kick things off, let's just ask a simple question about one of the most popular chains out there. We've all seen those crazy long lines at Chick-fil-A. So, take a guess. What do you think it costs to get your hands on the keys to one of those places? Get this. The answer is a famously low $10,000. That's it. For an initial franchise fee of just 10 grand, you can get into a business where the average store hauls in over $9 million a year. It sounds absolutely unbelievable, right? The deal of a lifetime. Well, as you might guess, it's not quite that simple. Yeah, because that $10,000 fee, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. When you look at the total initial investment, for all the equipment and startup costs, that number suddenly skyrockets to anywhere between $400,000 and over $2 million. And suddenly, that puts it right up there in the same ballpark as opening a McDonald's. So what is going on here? And here it is. Here's the catch that explains everything. The real difference isn't just about the money. It's about the entire business model. It really all boils down to one critical question. Do you want to own a business, or do you just want to operate one? And this is where you can see the two completely different philosophies in action. You've got Chick-fil-A's operator model, where you're basically a highly paid licensed manager, and then you've got the McDonald's owner/tenant model, where you actually own the franchise, but, and this is key, you lease the property directly from corporate. They're both selling fast food, sure, but underneath it all, they're playing two totally different economic games. Let's break down that Chick-fil-A deal. For that low entry fee, you get a completely turnkey operation. Corporate handles everything. They find the spot, they build the restaurant, they buy all the equipment. But here's the massive trade-off. You don't own any of it. You don't build any equity. You can't sell the business, and you can't pass it down to your kids. You're an operator, a very well-compensated one, but an operator nonetheless. Okay, now let's flip over to McDonald's. For decades, their core strategy, perfected by their finance guru Harry Sonneborn, was never really about the burgers. He famously said, "We are in the real estate business." And he meant it. McDonald's essentially acts as a landlord, buying up prime real estate and then leasing it back to their franchisees, usually at a pretty hefty markup. And look, don't just take my word for it. This quote from Eric Stites at Franchise Business Review just hits the nail on the head. Getting into a Chick-fil-A might be cheap, but at the end of the day, you're getting a job, not building an asset. For a lot of entrepreneurs who want to build real, long-term wealth, that's a total deal breaker. So, okay, we've got these two wildly different models. But no matter which path you take, they're all facing one massive shared problem right now: intense economic pressure. Whether you're an owner or an operator, your profits are getting squeezed from every possible angle. And if you want to see this profit squeeze in real time, all you have to do is look at the recent high-stakes fight over fast food wages in California. It's a perfect case study for the battle between labor costs and, well, staying in business. At the very heart of this whole debate is this one number, $20 an hour. That's the new minimum wage just for workers at big fast food chains in the state, and it kicked in April 2024. Now, that was a massive 25% jump from the old statewide minimum of $16. So what happened? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because depending on who you ask, you get two completely different stories. On one side, you've got studies from places like UC Berkeley that found that even though wages shot up, there wasn't a significant drop in jobs. But then, on the other side, an industry-backed report found the exact opposite, that the wage hike actually cut jobs in hours. It just goes to show you how contested this whole economic landscape really is. But rising labor costs are just one piece of this puzzle. There is an even bigger force at play, one that is fundamentally rewiring the entire business from the ground up. I'm talking, of course, about the digital revolution. Things like mobile apps, online ordering and delivery, what used to be kind of a neat little add-on, have now become the absolute core of the business. It's totally changing how these restaurants work and how they make money. And if you want a jaw-dropping example of just how big this shift is, just look at Wingstop. An incredible 72.2% of their sales now come through digital channels. Think about that. The vast majority of their customers don't even step inside the building. This isn't some side project, this is the main event. But this digital boom, it's a total double-edged sword.
On one hand, yeah, apps like DoorDash and Uber Eats open up this huge new pool of customers. But on the other hand, they take a huge slice of the pie. We're talking commission fees between 15 and 30%, which can absolutely crush the already razor-thin profit margins these franchisees need to survive. All right, let's take a step back and connect all these dots. We've talked about the real estate games, the different ownership models, the pressures from labor costs, and this huge digital disruption. So what does it all mean? What is the real business of fast food today?
And this chart really lays it all out for you. You can see the massive differences in average unit volume, or AUV, which is just a fancy way of saying the average sales a single restaurant makes in a year. Chick-fil-A is way up at the top, with a staggering 9.4 million. You also see the huge range in what it costs to even get started. It's pretty clear there's no single one-size-fits-all formula for success.
So here's the big takeaway, the modern fast food playbook. It's not just about flipping burgers anymore. Success today means you have to be a real estate strategist, a brilliant brand manager, a tough labor negotiator, and a tech wizard, all at the same time. The food, believe it or not, is almost secondary to mastering all of.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending question for the future. As we start seeing more AI-powered drive-thrus in kitchens that are basically run by robots, who's really going to be in the driver's seat? Is it going to be the old-school owner-franchisee, the licensed operator, or will the real business of fast food eventually just be run by algorithms?